guys, it's absolutely freezing, so I'll update you once I get to the fishery. Right, welcome back to the channel everyone. It's absolutely freezing today. It's mid-January and we're here at Carlton Hill Fishery to hopefully catch some roach. Let's get the gear out and hopefully catch some fish. Right, that's the gear. I'm absolutely knackered, but that'll keep me warm. We'll get the gear down and hopefully get set up and catch some fish. Right, so at the peg now, it's absolutely freezing, but Chris, the owner, has had the aerator on and managed to clear a few pegs for us. So I decided, rather than go and try and hack the ice in another spot, give it a go here. I think I'll go on this peg, just so if it freezes over, we've got a bit of breathing space. But yeah, this is peg 12 on the Trees Pond, which is a really, really deep pond here at Carlton Hill Fishery in Cumbria, where I'm from. Full of roach, odd skimmers. So hopefully, it's really, really deep, so hopefully we get some bites. Probably fish quite short because it's really deep, so I don't think I'll find the bottom out there. What we'll do is go and get the gear, bring it down, get set up, and then we'll talk you through the rigs, bait and tactics. See you soon. One very important part of catching lots of fish, it's been fed. So I've got a bacon sandwich made from home. Gonna get that eaten, enjoy it. It is freezing out here, but we're all set up more or less. We just need to feed some bait, so I'll go and sort my ground bait out, get the bait in, and hopefully the roach will abide and we'll catch a great big net full. Right, so we're at the peg now and we're just doing a bit of plumbing up. It's a super deep lake this, and it basically just keeps going and going. Like, I don't think I'll find the bottom. I've had my rig all the way out in the middle today, like 12 meters, and it just is bottomless basically. So I don't really want to be fishing at 12 meters and faffing about money here for a nice little pleasure session. So I'm going to fish about just over top 4 deep, just so I'm in that deeper water. That's like sort of on where it sort of levels out a little bit, but it just keeps going. I'm only going to fish a light float for the depth of water. I'm going to fish a gram Gloucester because there's no need to go on any heavier. I don't think there's no wind on or anything like that. I don't think I'm going to get a benefit from a super heavy float. Hopefully with something a bit lighter it might bring me a few extra bites, but I'm just going to fish 2 lines, I think. One to my left and one to my right, and it's a bit deeper this side. So I think for this you just want to be plumbing up just at the sort of just underneath the body, just as it's just sort of where it's level with the water, just because it is quite uneven, so then that gives you a bit of leeway. I think I'm only fishing a nice and light number 4 solid, and I'm fishing it through a short kit just because that's what I do when I go to places like woodland. So I thought that's what I've got set up, and it'll be nice and light, nice and soft. So what I'm going to do is, I think I don't really want to fish on that section if I can. If I can find a spot where I can fish on this section, I'll be happy. Perfect there. So what I'm going to do now is shift this back. You can see I'm sort of like, probably like, I don't know how deep that is, but it's quite deep. You can see I'm sort of like 10 footish, something like that, probably a bit more. But then it gives me the option of fishing that deep water. I think that's going to be the best today. But that's the rigs. That's the plumbing up anyways. I'll talk a bit more in depth about the rig once I start fishing. Let's go and get my ground bait sorted and then we'll get started. Okay, so in terms of bait for roach on deep waters like I am fishing today, I like to keep it simple. I might go and buy some casters, but other than casters, all I've got with me is some mixed maggots. These got some blues in and all sorts of wacky colours, but I'm thinking red and white, just standard colours. Just mix and match, see whatever works best on the day, but a few maggots. And then since it's been so cold and there's actually ice on a lot of the water, I've got some pinkies, just little fluoro pinkies, just half a pint of them. So see what's best, we'll work out on the day, but if it is good I might go and buy some casters, but I'm not sure if I'll need them. In terms of ground bait, because it's dead deep, I think I will definitely need some ground bait. And one which I've used here for years, I haven't been here for quite a few now, but when I was younger, I used to come and fish for roach here all the time. And two mixes I used to fish every single week I came here was Frenzied Hemp, the black one, and some Silvex Roach. I know how they work, they're brilliant ground baits for roach, and when it's so clear like it is now, you need to, I have confidence in something black. When I'm fishing more commercial type venues like Woodlands and the Oaks, I've used light coloured sort of milled expander mixes, which are more fish mealy, other mixes like that. But for roach, when I know it's going to be hard fishing and it's dead clear water, more of a natural venue. It's not a natural, but it's not commercial. It's a bit sort of in between here. So that's my mix. To mix it up, all I do, bucket's a bit minging, so I'll just scoop the crap out of there. Don't think I'll need that much. I won't do all of it. Probably just do like half a bag of each. And yeah. That's the bait anyways. Hopefully we'll catch some fish on it. Let's go and get the rest of the gear set up. Right, so we're all set up. I'll beat my bacon sandwich and I'll build my ground bait. So that's it already. Nice and damp, but not too overwetted. And I've just chucked it through the riddle just to get rid of any bigger lumps, because no one wants that. Especially not these roach. It won't take much to fill them up. So I've just got a little tub with some ground bait with a few maggots and a few pinkies in. Just an odd one, not very many. I'll probably only feed a tiny bit at the start. I think probably like a tiny little ball, something like that on both lines. Just kick it off with an odd maggot in. And then I might loose feed some bait over the top. Just like pinkies probably. Probably won't fish maggots because they're quite big. Just to start off with and see what's what. But yeah, I'll have my catapult out. Got my ground bait. I'll top up as I go. I'll just keep putting little nuggets in if I think like the peg can take it, but I don't want to feed too big of a ball. So yeah, that's that. In terms of how tight to squeeze the balls, I think I want to just squeeze them sort of like medium. I don't want to squeeze them too tight so they just hit the bottom and stay there, because obviously it'll be like a slope, so I don't want them to hit the bottom and roll. So I'm going to squeeze them just tight enough. So in my mind, I'm thinking they're going to break down sort of like a couple of 2 or 3 feet before the bottom and then create a bed of bait. If I was on a shallower water, I'd definitely feed it loose, because I think that's a good way to do it when you're fishing for roach. But because it's so deep and it's a slope, I'm just going to feed it so I know exactly where my bait's going, in a bit of a ball, and hopefully it'll break down towards the bottom. But that's the feeding. So in terms of the rig, it's like almost, well, it's not a top 5, but I can put it on a top 5, because when I'm swinging the fish in, a bit of elastic's going to come out. So all I've got, 6-inch hook length of 0.10 to a size 20s F1 maggot hook, and then 0.15 main line, a few two number 10 droppers, and a bulker number 8. It's dead simple. And I've just got a gram Gloucester, like I said earlier, and then a quite a long lash. But because we're fishing so deep, I don't think it's too important to have a really long line, because the fish are going to be the ones you're fishing for at the bottom, so hopefully they're quite away from your pole tip. But nice and simple rig. I'm just going to set one rig up because I don't think there's any need to set multiple up. I've got one rig for 2 lines. I know where I'm fishing. I might set up a shallow rig later on if the fishing's good, just to fish through the water. But that's the theory. Let's get some bait in and hopefully catch some fish, fingers crossed. Right, so I fed them a bait about 10 minutes ago, and now I think it's about time we had a look. Hopefully there's some roach out there. Oh. Just going to start on the left-hand line, I think. I'm just going to fish a single pinky on the size 20. May sound like a big up for that size bait, but they're quite big pinkies, to be honest. But like I said, what I want to do is flick my rig out in the diagonal where I know the leg's sloping, so I'm not going to be laying on more than I want to be. And what I think would be the best thing to do, just to start with, just feed like 5 or 6 pinkies. I think I'm going to do. Just trying to feel my way in. I'm not been for so long. I think just sort of attract some fishing, because there's loads of roach in this pond. Let's just see if we can get one. Oof. Got a bite first, straight away. First chuck. But I'm guessing I'll probably get quite a lot of bites on the drop. That's why I've got them droppers towards the bottom of my rig, just to give it a slow fall and hopefully fool some of them roach. Remember to keep both lines fed, like I said. This one, I could catch a few fish up here, then I might have to try my other line, so I'll just pick up 5 or 6 pinkies. Just ping them in line with my marker. Got to the bottom now. I'm gonna need an extra shot of it, to be fair. But there we go, we've got one. Little roach, I think. Hey, look at that. We've not blanked. There you go, a little roach. 2-3 ounces. Got a nice little start. Anyway, I'll change my pinky as well. I think when it's so cold like it is today, I think having good quality bait is paramount. So even if it's just a bit of a hassle, changing your bait so it wriggles a little bit more, hopefully help you get a faster bite. The rig out again. I just flicked it just past my bait that time. I didn't want to, if I keep flicking it all the way, it'll just take me ages to settle my rig every time. So I just flicked it past a little bit, dropped my rig in, and then laid it, sort of like folded my rig in half, just to try and avoid tangles. Once your rig's settled, pick up some more pinkies. Oh, there we go, got another one off. Didn't even have time to feed that time. Woohoo! A bit smaller though, but nice to be catching. I didn't think I'd get many bites. And again, I think fishing that deeper water has made a bit of a difference, to be honest. I think if I'd fished too close to myself, I'd probably be struggling, but I think them fish just live in that deeper water. And I'm kind of surprised I'm catching, because with the aerator being on overnight, I thought it would have stirred up all the water layers and caused it to be difficult, but it seems to matter at the moment. But yeah, once you've got your rig in, try and feed some bait. 5 or 6 pinkies, nothing major. I think pinkies, when it's hard, it's just a good bait. You're not going to overfeed it as fast. Maggots are so big when you think about it. One roach, they might be full after eating a couple, so feed pinkies, you're going to make the swim last a bit longer. But if it's good, you can also switch to maggots, or if you're having to fish a waggler, maggots would be better. You've got to feed them a bit further. Right, so hopefully. There we go. That's another one on the right hand line. Just switched over to the right hand line from the left after having a little run there. And I've catched some lovely little dumpy roach. Not fed any more bait, just been loose feeding some pinkies. And I found the best way of catching is laying your rig out completely. So they're almost watching it go through the water rather than sort of dumping your rig in. It's not easy fishing, so I'll talk you through what I'm doing. What I'll do is ship out and then flip my rig sort of like to the left that way, then draw my rig round. Just use the momentum of shipping out, sort of flick it, and as soon as I've got my rig set in, pick up 5 or 6 pinkies, just sort of fire them just right on my float, then hold my rig tight. And what I can see, you'll see, you might not be able to see from there, but you see the bite on the way down. So as soon as it gets to the bottom, that's the best chance of getting a bite. And then if you don't get one after a little while, just lay the rig out again and repeat the process. So that feels like a nice fish. There you go. Ooh, that's lovely with the light elastic. We can get them in. Make a lumber net. Probably a good roach. Right down to the bottom. I think it's like a hybrid or something. Get in. Yeah, little hybrid. Put it in. 5-6 ounce. Lovely fish. Absolutely like a block of ice. Look at that. I don't know what I'm doing fishing for F1. These silvers are great fun. single pinky. Probably try some fishing maggots later on if I think it's good, you know, see if we can pick out a better fish. But for now, I'm going to stick with pinkies and hopefully. I'll flick the rig out, bring it down, and then eat something. That one was a bit of a bigger fish, so I fed a bit more bait, 5, 6 that time. But as soon as the stamp drops down again, I'll just start being a bit less. And then diggins, I'll eat a lot of bait. I wouldn't mind a skimmer, I'd love a bonus skimmer. Ooh, there we go, another one. Nice fish. What that is, can you see? That's Roach. Oh. Little fish. We get a little bit bigger, which is nice. But that right hand line definitely seems better. I don't know if it's because it's slightly more towards the ice, or I think it's a bit further away from myself, so that could definitely be playing a big part. Okay, so been fishing for a little while now, but bites are starting to tail off. I think the temperature's dropping a bit, but I think if I top up now with a little bit of ground bait, it might just give my swim a little bit of a kick to get a few more bites before we come to the end of the session. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a tiny small ball of ground bait, just like, not going to squeeze it very tight, just so, that sort of size, maybe 10 pence a piece. Just put it in a little pot. So hopefully that top up might have just worked. I'll put another little ball of ground bait in. And I've just had a few roach in a row. This one's a nice decent one. Just keeping firing a bit of bait over the top. I'm topping up every now and again when it dies off. But there's still plenty of roach like that to be caught. 4 ounces or something. Really cold now. But coming out on a winter session, keeping your bait simple, don't complicate your rigs. Like today I've only got one rig, 1 gram, nice and light, bulk and 2 droppers, a catapult, just keeping it simple and you can have a great day fishing. That's got to be the last fish of the session. The ice is actually refreezing around the float, so I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get this one in. Manoeuvring, I think. But I had a great little session, just 2-3 hours. Caught loads of roach, just fishing 2 lines of pinkies and ground bait. And how about that? Lovely little roach to finish on. Hopefully a few of these simple tips that I've showed you might help you catch some fish if you want to get out on the bank this winter. Keeping your bait simple, a few pinkies, a few maggots and a little bit of ground bait. Nice and dark, just to give them fish confidence to feed over your bait. Keeping your rig simple, this, that and the other. Don't go complicate things, you're only here to enjoy yourself. Give it a go and hopefully I'll see you in the bank soon. Thanks for watching.